Hello and welcome back to another video in the Complete Web Dev series. We are getting close to the end of our object-oriented programming content management system that we're building, which is just an example little blog site. What we're going to attempt to do in this video is do all of our CRUD operations for categories. Now when I say CRUD operations, maybe you haven't heard this before, but CRUD is just an acronym for create, read, update, and delete. So those are very basic things that you need to do with kind of each resource in an app usually. And so when I say CRUD, we're going to have the ability to create, read, update, and delete categories. All right, so if you guys are enjoying this, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys still are not subscribed. If you like some sweet merch like this hat or this mug right here, you can head over to freeskills.life, or you can look in the video below, or the description below the video. I think there's a link there. You can also support me on Patreon if that's something that you're able to do. So let's get going here. I'm going to switch over to my screen, and I do have my, let me open up a new window here. And I'm going to send this to my first workspace. So we got the content management here, and I have examp up and running. I'm going to create a new branch to work from, so I'm going to do get checkout -b, and this is going to be v31, and then I'm going to push that to remote. Set upstream origin v31. Alright, so we're ready to rock and roll now, so let's go ahead and go to localhost /CMS. That'll get us here. Log in and go to your author portal. Make sure you're logged in as an admin user because categories can only be added by admin. And then open up a new tab here, and we'll go ahead and open up our database by going to PHP MyAdmin, and then click on the CMS database. So this categories table right here is what we're going to be adding. So these have a name and an ID, so not too complicated there. So my mustache is like driving me nuts. I need to trim it. Alright, so what we're going to need open, if you go to app controllers and go ahead and open up the admin controller, and then go to views and admin, and go ahead and right click here and let's add a new file. We are going to need a file called categories.php, and then we're going to also add another file in the views there, and we're going to call that category.php. Okay, and then close up the views, and then in the models we're going to need some new models here. So let's create a model. So right click on the models here and create one called categories.php. That'll be our model. Alright, so let's see here. I guess let's go ahead and start with the model. So what we're going to do here is just open some PHP tags, and we're going to give this a namespace of app models, and then we're going to use our core. Model. That's what we're going to extend, and then we're going to need some validators. So we're going to use core validators, and then we're going to use a group here. We're going to just use the required validator, and we'll also use the unique validator because we don't want multiple categories called the same thing, so we're going to check that. The next thing we do is we just call this, so this is class categories, and this extends our model. Okay, just like that. And then we need to give it tell it what table it is. So we do that with the protected static table variable, and this is called categories. So that's the name of our database table right here. Okay, so it's important to set that correctly. The next thing we're going to do is add our public properties here, and in this case it's going to be ID and name, so not too crazy there. The next thing we do is go ahead and add our validation, so we can do public function, and we'll do our before save. So each time that we're going to save this, it's going to run this, and we're going to add all of our validations. So this run validation. And I'm going to do that again right here. We'll do another this run validation. There we go. And we're going to pass in the new required validator. And that's going to take this as the first parameter, and then an array with key value of field, and the field is going to be name for this one. And then we have a message. And the message is just going to be name is a required field. Okay, so that's it for this one right here. So I'll just kind of scroll over so you can see the whole thing. And then we're going to add the unique validator here. We're going to say new unique validator. It will take this as the first parameter and then an array, and this will be field will also be name on this, and the message is that category already exists. Okay, so that's actually it. That's all we need to do in our categories model. See how easy that is? So we got 14 lines of code, and now we have validation run, and we have our model set up so that we can use all of our model methods on our categories table, such as the find and find first and all of that. So the next thing that we're going to do is let's go ahead and set up our controller actions. So head over to the admin controller and scroll down to the bottom here, and we'll start doing our category actions here. So the first one we're going to do is our categories, which will be showing all of them. So public function categories action. This won't take any parameters, and what we're going to do here is use our router perm redirect function we created in the last video, and we're going to make sure that they're admin. If they're not, then we're just going to forward them to the admin articles like that. Once we've done that, let's go ahead and set up some params. And by default, we're going to set some params. We're going to do order, and we're going to order these by name alphabetically. Okay, and then what we're going to do is say params equals, and then we're going to use our categories model, which I haven't brought in yet, and this will be merge with pagination, and we'll pass params into that. So let's go ahead and make sure we bring this in. So in our models up here, along with our users, we need to use the categories. There we go. So now we've got rid of that red squiggly line, so that'll work. The next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to pass these into our view. So we'll say this view categories is equal to, and then we're just going to do categories find, and we'll pass our params right in there. And then we'll say this view total so that we can use our pagination, and this will be categories find total. We'll also pass our params into that. The next thing that we need to do is render our view, so we'll say this view render, and that's it. This is our complete controller action. So it's only, what is that, 7 lines of code. That's all we need to paginate and order and get all of our categories and all of that. So the next thing that we need to do though is create our view to print these to the screen. So if we go over to our categories.php, now this is in views admin categories, and what we'll do here is do this start to tell it that we're going to start the content. We'll skip down a few lines here and we'll do this end, which will clear the output buffer and print it to the screen. And then everything that's in here is what's going to get put in the content of our layout. So what we're going to do is do an h2 tag here, and we're just going to put categories. And you know what? Actually, what we're going to do, let's do a div with a class of d-flex. We'll give it another class of align items center, and then we'll give it another one of justify content. Oh wait, let me just double check that real quick. And we can look at our users view for that. Justify content between. You know, I could actually, let's just copy this right here. We'll just paste that in and we'll just update this to say categories. Yep. And then for our button, instead of new user, we're going to say new category, and it's going to get sent to our admin. We're going to send it to category new. Okay, so let's save that now, and let's just go back and let's go to our categories by clicking on the menu item here. So now we have this categories header and our new category. Now this will actually break if we click that, so we're not going to click that just yet. The next thing that we want to do, let me just check here, is we need to add our poster. So underneath this header right here, let's do a div with a class of poster. And we could probably rob a lot of this from, well, we won't. It's easy enough. So let's go back here and let's add a table with a class of table, and let's do a class of table hover, and let's do table striped as well. Okay, and then we can do our t head, and inside the t head we're going to do a t row, and inside there we're going to do th, and let's see, we probably only need let's see, just 3. I guess we'll do 3 just for fun. So we'll do times 3, and then underneath the t head we'll just do our body here. So we'll do t body, and for the t body we are going to open up PHP tags, and we're going to say for each, and what are we going to do? For each this categories. Now this is being passed in from our controller, our admin controller right here, this view categories. Okay, so for each this categories as cat, we'll just do as cat because I'm lazy, and we'll do a colon and close the PHP tags, and then we'll skip down a few lines and we'll open up PHP tags and we'll say end for each. End for each, and that takes a semicolon now. And now what I can do is do a tr, and inside of the tr we're going to do a td times 3. Okay, and then what we're going to do, let's up here in our head, let's go ahead and give this id, let's give it a name, and then we'll say actions, and let's give this actions a class equal to text write. And then the TDs, all we got to do here is PHP echo cat ID. And for the next one, we'll do PHP echo cat name. And these are just coming from our model properties here. And then the last one is going to be our buttons, and we're going to have edit and delete there. So what I'm going to do here is let's do class equal to text write, and then we'll break that down to a new line, and we'll give this a class of A with a class of button small, button small, button info. There we go. And the href here, we're going to echo out our root, and then we'll send them to the admin category, and then we're going to use the ID here. So then we will echo out cat ID. All right. And then for the text of the button, we'll just put edit. And that's it for that. Let's go ahead and add our delete button. So we'll do the same thing we did with our other our users. We'll use a little bit of JavaScript. So we'll say button small, button danger. We're going to give it an on-click event equal to confirm delete let's just call this delete category, and we'll put some single quotes in there, and then I'm going to break out of here. We'll close our button tag, and then we'll call this delete, and then we need to actually pass in our cat ID, and we could just use PHP there. All right, and then we need to, underneath our table, we're going to use our pager here. So that's super easy. We could just echo out. Well, we don't need to do an echo. We can do PHP this partial, and then we're going to use partials / pager, and that will handle our pagination for us. And then the last thing is, underneath this div here, let's go ahead and add our script tags. And what this is going to do is handle our delete category right here. So we're going to create a function called delete category, and that's going to take the category ID, and then we're just going to use our if function, our if statement, and we're going to say if window dot confirm, are you sure you want to delete this category? This cannot be undone! Exclamation. And if they're sure, then all we're going to do is our window dot location dot href, and move my cursor there, and we'll set that equal to a couple backticks, which backticks are above the tab key on an American keyboard, and we're going to echo out our PHP root, and then we'll do admin / delete category. Now we haven't created this yet either, but we will in just a moment. And then we're going to use our string literal here to send in our category ID. And that's it. This is our entire view. This is our entire view for our table to print our categories. So 39 lines of code, not too bad. And then we'll go and refresh now, and now we have our table. Now, of course, our table is empty. So let's go ahead and let's work on creating some categories here. So let me answer this text real quick. All right, sorry about that. And I'm gonna take a drink because we're gonna keep heading right on through. So we talked about the create, read, update, delete. So the create, or I'm sorry, what we just did right here is the read of the CRUD operations. This reads our categories from our database, and this prints them to the screen with this view. Okay, so we done the read. So let's go ahead now and take care of the create. Okay, we're going to kind of take care of the create and the update all at once, because we can use the same form, and then based upon the ID that's sent in. So right here the ID is new, but when we're editing them, the ID is going to be the ID of the category. So let's go ahead now and set up our view really quickly, because this won't be bad at all. We're going to open up some PHP tags, and I'll skip down a few lines here, and let's just say use core, and we're going to use our form helpers. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and do our this start method, and we're going to start content. All right, and then we're going to skip down a few lines here, open some PHP tags, and we'll say this end. All right, and we just need to put our form in here. So what we're going to do here is let's add a div with a class of row, and then let's add a div with a class of call medium -8. And we'll also do a offset dot medium -2 to offset it to, and then we'll give that also a class of poster. Okay. Then what we're going to do is do some h2 tags to put our heading in. But what we're going to do here is echo out this heading. Now that's going to be an error for now because we don't have a heading, but we're going to take care of that. And then what we're going to do is add our form, and the action here is we'll remove the action so it posts back to the same place, and we're going to make the method equal to post. And then in our form we're going to do a div with a class of row, and inside of here let's go ahead and do our fh form helper, and we're going to use our cross-site request forgery field. So all of our forms need this. And then we're going to add our PHP echo. We'll do our form helper, and you know what, I'm going to add a space here because just to make this consistent, and we'll do an input block, and this is going to be a super simple form, guys. Watch how we're going to do category as the label. You know, we could do category name, and we're going to call that name so that matches the database, and then we're going to do this category name, and then we're going to give it a class for our input, our class for our wrapper, and then we're going to do this errors. All right, so in this array we're going to say class, and we're going to give this class of form control, which is just a bootstrap class, not complicated. And then what we're going to do is right here for the wrapper, we're also going to give this a class attribute, and we're going to tell this to use form group and also call medium 12. All right, so that should be it for the input there. Let's see, what am I mixing? I gotta close my PHP tags. Sorry about my air conditioner, guys, but it is hot. All right, then what we're gonna do here is we'll do a div with a class of text write. And in here, we're gonna have two. We're gonna have an anchor tag with a class of button and button secondary. And for the href, we'll echo out our PHP root. And we're gonna send this back to our admin categories if they hit cancel. And then this is actually, we just need to put cancel right here. So this is gonna be your cancel button. And then what we're gonna do is do another input right here. And this is gonna have a class equal to button primary. The value is going to be save, and the type is going to be submit. So this will submit that form since it's in the form here. And that's it, guys. So, you know, 23 lines of code, and that's our form for our category form. But we don't have the controller action yet for it, so we need to go ahead and do that. And unfortunately, the controller action is going to be a little bit bigger than our last controller action, but it's not going to be bad still. So we'll say public function category action. Now this is going to take an ID, but by default the ID is just going to be set to new. Okay. And then in this category action, we'll go ahead and start setting stuff up. For one thing, we need to run our router perm redirect, and the perm, we're going to make sure they have admin permissions. And then if not, we're going to redirect them to the articles table. All right, now that we've done that, we've taken care of the permissions. Let's go ahead and set up our category. So category is going to be equal to, and then we're going to check ID. And if ID is equal to new, then we're going to do a ternary operator here. We're just going to say new categories, else we're going to do categories find by ID, and then we're going to pass the ID in. So this will get the category, and it'll either set up a new one or find one by ID. All right. Then what we're going to do is, let's skip down a few lines here. Let's set up our if statement to say if this request is post, so that we know if they've posted, then we'll handle that information with the form in here. But outside of that if statement, let's go ahead and give our view what we need. So we're going to say this view and the category, and we're just going to pass category down into that. And then we'll do this view, and we'll do our heading now. Remember, our heading was dynamic, and the heading is going to be equal to, if ID is equal to new, then the heading will be add category, else it's going to be edit category. All right, then our view will also need errors in case there's form errors here, and that's going to be equal to category get errors. It's not that big of a deal. Then we'll do this view render. All right, so we've gotten most of it done. We just need to handle the actual form submission, and also we should probably handle if there's not a category. So let's do a guard statement up here, and what we're going to do here, let's say if not category, then oops, if not category, Then what we want to do is we'll say session message, and we'll say category does not exist. And then what we'll do is we will use our router redirect, and we'll just redirect them to admin categories. Okay, so that'll handle that. So now we just need to handle our request. Now remember, the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we don't have anything goofy going on with cross-site request forgery. So we're going to use our session CSRF check. All right, and that's it. That'll take care of that. Make sure that the token's correct that they're posting to us. The next thing that we need to do is set up the category name. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say category name is equal to this request get name. The next thing that we're going to do is just do category. Actually, we're going to do an if statement here. We're going to do if category save, and that'll be a method that we run. And now that returns true or false. So if it's successful, then what we're going to do is we are going to set a session message, and this will be category. Wow, I can't spell right now. Category saved, and this is going to be a type of success. Else, what we're gonna and then what we're gonna do is do our router redirect, and we're gonna redirect them to admin categories. There we go. So that is it for the entire. This handles the adding or the creating and the updating of our categories. So this is what, 83. So this is basically 21 lines long. Not too bad. So total to handle our creation and our updating of our categories, we have a total of 21 plus 23. So 44 lines of code for updating and adding categories. So let's test that out. If I go down and click new category, oh, I got a problem here. This isn't offset correctly. I must have let's go to our category form here. And this is actually supposed to be a dash right there. It's offset dash medium dash 2. Let's refresh that. There we go. That looks better. So here's our category name. If I just hit save, it says name is a required field. Now that's because in our model on the before save, we added that. Let's go ahead and add a category. So what could be a category for our blog site? Well, first let's do computer science, and we'll hit save. And now it gave us a success message and forwarded us back here. And now we have computer science, and then that's it. So let's add a couple more categories. I'm going to add one called board games. And then let's add another one. I'm going to add one called, let's do video games. I guess those could have been under entertainment, but whatever. And then let's do one more. Let me see. Board games, video games, computer science. What else do I like? Let's see. Grilling. And let's see. We'll do religion. This is just going to get awesome. And then we'll do politics. Gotta have those categories. I'm just joking, but that's what I could think of right now. So you can do whatever categories you want in yours. Now these are printed out in this list as in alphabetical order. So let's try to add one now. Let's test out our unique thing. Let's try to add one we already have. So I'm gonna click new category. And let's try grilling. Now, I already have grilling in my database, and it does say indeed that that category already exists. So let's test out our cancel button, and we're good to go. The other thing, let's test out our pagination, which I think it's working. So I'm just going to do a question mark I'm going to do limit, and let's just do 2 per page. Up, yep, here we go. So now we have 3 pages of 2 each. So that works. We don't need to do that. I was just testing to make sure pagination is working correctly, and it is. And now let's test out our edit function. So we know creation works by hitting new category, but let's try to edit one of these. Let's try to edit grilling, and grilling says edit category up here now, and let's just spell this wrong. Put an extra L here and hit save. And now it worked, so there's 3 L's. Let's go ahead and fix that now. There we go. So, as far as I'm concerned, we have our reading, creating, and updating of our CRUD operations done. And now we just need to do the delete action. So we want to be able to click this. So I'm going to add a new category that I'm going to make just for me to delete. And I'm going to call that delete me. So now we have this category 7 called delete me, and I want to be able to click this, and if I hit OK, it needs to delete. But in order for that to work, we need to add the controller action for that. So let's go back to our admin controller, and underneath our category action, let's add a new one. And we're going to add a public function, and this will be delete category. And this is going to take an ID. Alright. And this has to be an action. So delete category action. Just like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do our router perm redirect. We're going to make sure they have admin permissions. And we'll redirect them to admin articles if they don't have permission. The next thing that we're going to do is get the category. So we're going to say category is equal to categories find by ID, and then we're going to pass our ID right down into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a guard statement, and we'll say, well, yeah, let's just do a guard statement. We'll say if not category, then we're going to do a session message, and this will be that category does not exist, and then we'll do a router redirect to our admin categories. Alright, and then what we can do is we can do an else statement here, and then that will assume that there is a category, and all we'll need to do here is say category delete, and then we'll set a session message, and we'll say category deleted, and we'll give that a type of success. And then what we're going to do is do a router redirect, and we're going to redirect them to admin categories. Alright, that's it. That will take care of the delete. So what is that, 11 lines of code? And let's test that out. So now if I go and we try to delete, this is number 7 here. We'll hit delete, hit OK, and it happened so fast, but it deleted our category and redirected us back here. So if I try to go manually to that, so let's do category delete /7, which I've already done. Category what do we call that? Delete category. I got that backwards. Delete category. And now it redirects us and says that category does not exist because we've already deleted it. So if they try to delete one that they don't have access to, then that'll be the problem. All right, so we have essentially done all of the CRUD operations for categories. We did creating them, reading them, updating them, and deleting them. So I think that's not too bad for one video. Let's see how long that took us. That took us 40 minutes to do all 4 CRUD operations. So that's not bad. So let's go ahead now and I'm going to go ahead and do a get status, and we can see what we've modified and added. So we'll do a get add period to add everything. We'll do a get status again. Now we can see what is ready to be committed. So we'll do get commit -m, and we'll say category CRUD done. And then we'll do a get push. And then for me, I'm going to check out main and do a get merge v31 and go ahead and push that. All right, guys, so that's it. We have completely used successfully a lot of code that we've written previously, and now you can see how quick it is to add whole new functionality in 40 minutes, guys. We added a table that can do pagination, prints out our categories. We can add new ones. We can edit them. We can delete them in 40 minutes. So I'm really proud of that, and you can see that why object-oriented programming allows us to write very little code now, because it's using a lot of shared logic with our models and our controllers and our views and all of that. And now we can just keep going. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and do our CRUD operations for our articles, including a WYSIWYG, so that we can style up our articles. So I will see you guys in the next video.